Welcome to another episode of Supy Talks podcast. This time we're coming from London, and I'll be speaking to William Connors, who is someone who started his career as an F&B manager for Club Med in amazing locations such as St. Lucia, the Bahamas, Mexico and Switzerland. And he's evolved into one of the most respected hospitality tech experts in the UK. He has led digital transformations for incredible brands such as Wahaca, Popeyes, Burger King, and more recently Wingstop. Today, William runs his own consultancy, William Connors Tech, and he helps restaurants turn their IT chaos into profit. William, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Before we get into it, I've just got a few little questions I want to ask you about your favourite restaurants in London. It's always interesting to see what people's tastes are. So we'll dive into it. What is the best restaurant chain in the UK?
I always choose Wahaca because they have great food and they're very participative inside the community.
Amazing. And then which is your favourite bar or pub in the UK?
Mr. Fogg's. It's a great place. I know they have a couple of different locations, but the one in Soho, they have kind of a secret room where it's all 1920s and it's right next to the men's bathroom. So people come in and they slam the door and they come in and they look again. And that alone is worth the price of the drinks.
Yeah, people are coming for the experience, not just for the drinks.
Yeah. They have very unusual, wonderful tasting drinks.
Amazing. So which is your favourite restaurant for a special occasion?
My wife is vegetarian, so I always have to choose Boobala. Boobala is a very trendy, exciting, healthy place to eat, and it makes my wife very happy.
Lovely. I haven't visited yet, but I've heard only amazing things about it.
Yeah. There's a dish that they have that's kind of like many layers of deep fried potatoes, which is fantastic, as well as everything's great.
I'll have to try it. And which is your guilty pleasure restaurant?
Honest Burgers. I know I'm not supposed to be eating that type of food, but they have a great dirty burger that is fantastic, and I love the fries as well.
Yeah, those rosemary fries are legendary. It's kind of a trademark there. You don't see them in a lot of other places.
Yeah, and also, too, they've got decent tech, and the service is great. It's a nice chain.
Yeah, really good chain. Okay, is there one restaurant that you're dying to try that you haven't been to?
Market halls, I know it's run by some friends of mine, and when I go there, it looks fantastic. It's well lit. There's tons of amazing food, but I'm always in there before they open or after they close, so I want to actually go there as a customer.
Yeah, and get a real feel for the vibe and the buzz and the atmosphere.
Yeah.
I think you'll have a great time. Okay, those were great little fun starters. Let's go into a bit of your experience because you've got so much of it and it's so valuable. You've had a career on the floor, working in restaurants and on the tech side of things more recently. So I want to understand how that being in ops has shaped your mindset. So I'd love to know, how did your experience as an F&B manager shape how you implement technology?
Well, one thing to keep in mind that inside a restaurant, you've got people of all different backgrounds. And of course, it's always controlled chaos. You've got things going on in the kitchen, people coming through the door, and there's no patience whatsoever. So what attracted me to tech in the first place is that you want to find better ways of doing things, have a better customer experience, do things faster, and have also reports that reconcile with each other in the background.
Yeah. And actually, out of interest, how did you make that transition from ops on the floor into technology?
I was working in the Radisson in Belize, in Belize City. And at the time, the systems were crashing all the time and they would fly people in to fix them. Yeah. And the general manager that I was working under, she said, you have to fix everything. So I started reading all the manuals and kind of playing around and understanding how networks work. And then one day, the supplier came back to me and said, we just want to know what's happened because you don't call us anymore. What product do you have in place? And I said, no, we still have your product, but I understand how everything works and we don't need to call you as much anymore.
Amazing. And what do you think has changed since those days? What are the big changes?
everything's gotten much more sophisticated and also faster. So I was just telling someone the other day how when we gave feedback in the Caribbean, when the customer would fly home, they'd receive a brochure and they'd say, "How did you enjoy your stay?" They would write, it would be sent to the head office, and then it would be forwarded to us. So the difference between when the customer was in the resort and the feedback, it would probably be well over a month. And now it's like you can have a customer give you feedback online and through social media, and they're still in the restaurant. So you can be notified of their review and still catch them at the table before they get out the door.
Yeah, and I guess those quicker feedback loops lead to opportunities to evolve the business faster.
Well, yeah, because, especially when you're reviewing food, it'll be like before it used to be the food was good, the food was bad. Now it's like I loved the starter, I loved the main, the dessert was not very good. And in terms of service as well, like it'll be like William's greeting at the door was below average, but I loved Curran's smile when he served me at the table. So all this information is great for training your staff and also understanding why customers are coming to your restaurant.
Yeah, makes total sense. Yeah, I think a lot sounds like it's changed, and hopefully we're heading in a positive direction. So I was wondering, having seen both sides, what do you think that tech teams normally misunderstand about restaurant life?
Well, you have to keep in mind that a lot of the tech teams are removed from the restaurant floor. So what can be a 5-alarm fire on the restaurant floor, the person that's dealing with the problem is usually in the confines of a nice office, and they can't quite emphasize with what's going on. So you need to be able to be empathetic with what the restaurant is experiencing, but also too, you need to fix their problems and get them sorted.
Yeah, I think it's just, you were speaking about how it's easy to overlook the frontline realities of what's happening in a restaurant when you're the IT guy, right?
Yes.
And having someone like you in the business can really help make sure that those things are taken into account.
Yes, well, that's it. Something that I'm able to do is I can see the technical side and how it needs to be managed, but also to be very empathetic with the what's going on in the restaurant, what do they need to solve the problem at hand, and also to the hours are different. So a lot of the restaurants are going to be operating at 11:30 at night, and so you can't have someone that just deals with it the next day. You need to fix it as well as you can on the spot.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So rebooting a core system at 5 p.m. probably a bad idea. Having to understand that service hours might be till 11, so you have to wait till 2.
Yes.
It sounds so obvious, but I imagine when you spend all of your day thinking about one side of it, you kind of lose that perspective. Excellent. And I just wanted to touch on something. So you've seen how operations are run in lots of different restaurant types and different brands. How different are the teams and the decision-making processes in different types of restaurants?
Well, when you're in a QSR restaurant, you're dealing with speed and efficiency. So you're dealing with fewer systems, but they need to work absolutely perfectly. When you expand that to table service, you've got more things to deal with. So all of a sudden, you've got reservation systems, you've got table seating, you've got like all the time and attendance and different things going on in the background. And then if you expand even further to hotels, all of a sudden you've got the reception, the food and beverage areas, the events, the housekeeping, so the key cards. It's all different things, but like the bigger you get, the more complicated and diverse the products are.
Very interesting. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. And so would you say then that it's more complex managing the tech operations of a table service restaurant than a QSR, or is it just a different challenge?
I would say it's more complicated and more diverse, but also too the impact is far greater when you're in a QSR. So if the tech breaks down in a QSR, it's a 5 alarm fire right away, even if it's something small. If you're in a larger environment, let's say table service or a hotel, the tech can break down, but the impact is not so dramatic.
Yeah, you've got more staff that, although they're not there just to do kind of manual operations, they can turn into that. Whereas in a QSR, we're trying to be efficient with time and money because it's about speed.
Yes.
Excellent. And, you know, we all have these times in our career. It's a bit chaotic sometimes. So I want to find out, are there any times where you've really messed up in your restaurant ops days?
Constantly, but with that said, I mean, one of the times in particular was I was working in St. Lucia, and the way it worked back then was you have a big long list of items, you tick off the items that you need, you use a fax machine, you send the fax to it was Miami, and then Miami takes all the products that you need, throws it on a boat, and then 2 weeks later, it gets delivered to your restaurant. So for the most part, everything was fine. But there was one time around Halloween where the general manager said, I need 40 pumpkins. And so I looked at my list and it just said 40 or pumpkins P market price. And I said, okay, P stands for what? Pound, piece. Doesn't matter. I'll just say 40, signed it, sent it off. Turns out that 40 P stood for pallets. So about 2 weeks later, a big 18-wheeler comes up and there was pumpkins just flying. I've never seen so many pumpkins my entire life. There was about 1,600 or so. Wow. And I ran out and just stopped him because my boss was sitting in the office, and I said, you need to get rid of these pumpkins like that. And so I took the 40 for the hotel, and my boss turned around and said, who's all the pumpkins for? I'm like, oh, the entire island. Yeah, it's crazy. And the guy's like, wow, that's a lot of pumpkins like that. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. So it turns out that they took the pumpkins to the beach that's right next to our resort. And they just hired a digger, dug an enormous hole and put them all in. And then the guy said, don't worry, we'll just charge you a couple of percentage points on all of your products you purchase, and nothing will be said. And I'm like, fine. And then lo and behold, I think it was March, the guy said, by the way, you've just paid off your pumpkins. And I'm like, thank you.
Oh, wow. That's a long time to wait to get rid of that worry.
Oh, yeah. But the thing is surprisingly, I was still under budget for the year. So
very good. You must have been working hard elsewhere.
Yes.
Nice. Amazing. Well, I think there will be people in your position now who, if they were using Supy, that wouldn't happen because the different types of packaging types would prevent that ever happening. But back in the day, I guess you didn't have that.
Well, that's it. If people ask what it's the difference between now and then, back then you just needed to be kind of above budget or below budget. There was no granular insight into what each item's profit margin was. Like what are you wasting in food? It was just basically high level. Yes, we're doing well, or no, we're not. And now you can factor in the item, the packaging, the what you're using in terms of napkins. It's all trackable, and you can pull up the information very quickly.
Yeah, excellent. That's a really good story. I love the pumpkin example. I'll be using that all over the place. So just diving into what you do on a daily basis a little bit. You're often brought in to do a tech stack review for a restaurant chain. So what do you look at first? Where do you start?
Well, you have to listen to the people in the restaurant. They'll tell you right away, this is working, this isn't. You also need to kind of take a holistic view as well. So if I'm in the head office, immediately you can use the 80-20 rule, where 80% of their time is dealing with 20% of your problem. And then you can be like, okay, what is your main problem? And so a lot of people will say reconciling data. So if you have systems for like your credit cards, for your stock, for your point of sale, and they're all showing up different numbers, well, that's a serious problem. You need to have everything integrated and come up with one source of truth, one number that everyone is confident in. At the site level, it's the same thing, but also too, you have to look at the customer journey as well. So you need not only to have managers able to get coherent data, but also too, they need to make sure that they're applying the tech in a way that their servers and the customers are happy with.
Interesting. That makes sense. And is there a way, do you go a long way to look at this from a customer point of view, or are most of your decisions made like in the boardroom?
Well, you need to start off. A good rule of thumb is to start with what works and kind of expand out. So it would be very easy to come in and say, like, let's start fresh with a clean sheet of paper. But the thing is that you can never really do that because you've got commitments. Also, too, you want to make sure that your customers are receiving the changes in a way that they can handle. So what it is you start with what's working, and then you can kind of expand that way.
Yeah.
And also to prioritize what the restaurants are having the most trouble with. So are they having problems with the data? Are they having problems with getting people into their restaurants? Are they having problems with efficiency? Yeah. And taking that stand as well, what it is you'll make sure that the restaurants are the most receptive to the change because they can see the immediate benefits.
Yeah. But do you ever see it where customers say, everything's down, William? Yes. What am I meant to do?
Well, I mean, that's why you have to take a bit of a holistic view, because it's like, okay, why is everything down? So I've had restaurants that have come in and say, yeah, this is offline, this is offline, this is offline. It's like, well, okay, that usually doesn't happen by coincidence. What it is your network's down. So like, look at the cabling, look at the connections inside, look at the power. There's all these different things that you might not immediately see that as the problem, but if you look at it holistically, you can identify probably something completely unrelated, but is affecting the problem.
Yeah, so you look at all of the problems, see how they're connected, and maybe there is a single point of failure that you can fix and change a number of things at once.
Yes.
Yeah, I really, really like that, because it can feel like chaos, but actually sometimes just taking a breath, zooming out, seeing how everything works together makes a big difference. And it's tough to do that when you're deep in the operation. So I think bringing in someone from outside can often be a good way to see more clearly. Excellent. Okay, great. So what is a restaurant tech opinion that you hold that others might disagree with?
I would say that people need to look at tech as not an expense, but as an investment into your business that improves efficiency. So, for example, you might not realize that your tech is going to improve your labor costs. The tech is going to reduce your credit card costs. So there's all these hidden costs that are actually a positive influence on your business, but you can't take the tech and say, oh, I'm just spending money.
It's very convenient for us to say that tech is a driver of profit and not a cost. So let's break that down with some clear examples so people can think about how that might be in their restaurant. So the question is, tell me about some times where tech has clearly driven an ROI.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, that's it. At the Noble Group, there is the credit card savings. So we saved around $300,000, and that paid for the tech within the first year. There's that. There's also, you have to look at the training. So before, for example, with Wahaca, there would be always people going up to our Edinburgh restaurant and training the staff, but you have to kind of factor in all the amount of expenses to bring the people up and take the staff and train them. Whereas with tech now, you can automate a lot of these things or do things remotely, and you've got clear savings.
Yeah, amazing. And there was one example you were speaking about before, which I hadn't realized, about digital signage.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that digital signage would save a lot. It sounded like a cost to me because you have to buy all these lights and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, with the Noble Group, what it is they had these bespoke boards, and every time that you made a menu change, or if you had a menu price change, which recently is quite a bit, you need to have a dedicated resource to create the signs and then install the signs. So it's slow. You have inconsistent information, and also too, you've got the printing costs. Whereas digital, all of a sudden, everything is done in the blink of an eye. You can adjust your menus like according to season, and the initial spend of putting in the digital signage, basically, it pays for itself after like 2 years' time, because you're not paying all the other costs.
Yeah, amazing. So we've got card fees being driven down, saving over 300k in a year. We've got reduced printing costs and rollout of that, reduced training costs through technology. There's so much stuff that can save you money. It's about picking the right tools to get there, because to be honest, there are thousands to choose from. Now, something you've also helped avoid is chaos in restaurants. Hospitality is a live industry, it's busy. But I really want to hear from you. What is the key to scaling restaurant tech with less chaos?
Well, I would have to say what you have to do is you have to perfect the model. And then once you're 100% happy that the model is fine, then you can expand. Don't go and follow a timeline and just kind of ignore the problems, because what you're doing is you're magnifying the problems in the background. Yeah. And also too, if one site isn't happy, all of a sudden you're going to have 20 sites unhappy. Yeah. So perfect it first, and once you're happy, then expand when you're ready.
It sounds like you've learned from experience. Were there any times at any companies where things were going a bit in that direction?
Oh, yeah. I mean, for me, I'd have to say with Popeyes, we had a few small problems, but because we had already committed to a fixed timeline, the small problems became magnified. So I think in hindsight, it would have been better to delay the openings of other restaurants until that restaurant was fine. We get different parties coming in, like saying, the finance team, the operations team, the customer feedback, and then it's fine. Because what it is if you're not ready, then whatever is a small problem becomes immediately a big problem.
And how do you pick that test site?
Well, you need to make sure that you're working with your best people, So if you have a very experienced manager on hand, they'll not only highlight the problem, but they'll also give you solutions. Whereas, if you're dealing with people that are very new to the restaurant, or don't know the brand, or don't know the operation, then they'll probably just say, "Oh, it's okay." Everything's fine, when it's not.
Yeah, that's great. So pick a pilot site and test things there. Make sure your staff at that site are the best in your group, so you actually get really good in-depth feedback, and fix those problems amongst all of the internal teams before rolling out elsewhere. And that will make it successful. Yeah, you're right, because I can see how without doing that across 30 sites, it could actually cause chaos for the business. And the point of implementing new tech is really to increase efficiency in the business. So I guess you don't want to do the opposite of that. And that leads me on to another question, which is, are there common things that restaurants underestimate when rolling out new tech or rolling out in a new market?
Well, one of the key things that is important is to make sure that you have sufficient support on site, because it can't be a tick box. You can't all of a sudden say it's all fine. By the way, you're rolling out pay at table today. good luck, read the memo, and let us know how it is. You need to have like the supplier there. You need to be there yourself. You need to go through every single possible change, but also too, you need to make sure that your staff are sufficiently trained and on board. So not only can they handle it themselves moving forward, but they are actually dominating. They're killing it. And if you have that high level of acceptance and appreciation for the tech, then it stays successful once you leave.
That sounds really good. And on the customer side, how do you ensure, are there any examples where you've had to really make changes after a new piece of tech came in to make sure the adoption was there?
Well, you also have to make sure that everything is fine. First of all, you have to sometimes train your customer as well.
Yeah.
So when DF Tacos opened a couple of years ago, what happened was we had self-serve kiosks.
Yeah.
And so the kiosks were way inside the restaurant. So when the customers showed up, they actually had to be coached, kind of saying, yes, come this way, make your order over here. And then once they make the order, we'd lead them to the tables. And we actually, to help, we put footprints across the floor. So customers were stepping on each of the footprints to make sure that they're in line with what they're expected to do. Eventually, we removed them. But the thing is just because it sounds and looks great in your mind, sometimes you have to coach the customer to understand what you're trying to achieve.
Totally. And you've been thinking about putting these kiosks in. It's really obvious to you that you need to walk to them, then to the table. But I feel like when you walk into a restaurant, it's a split-second decision. Do I go this way or that way? Do I make this choice or that one? So making it easy for people to understand is really key, which actually reminds me of my days working in event technology. When you see street food trucks at festivals, one rule we taught our suppliers, or we learnt from the best suppliers, was that people aren't going to approach your food truck unless they know what it is you sell and how much it costs, because otherwise they feel a bit scared to approach in case it's something they don't. And it's amazing that some suppliers really got this. Even if they had a name that wasn't related to what they do, they'd say, I don't know, fried chicken burgers beneath it and have clear pricing. But others would just have a little piece of A4 paper hanging up there, and you're not going to see that from more than a meter away. So it sounds like this is something that happens in both in-person restaurants and in the kind of event catering world, which was an interesting insight for me. So when you're implementing tech, for you as a technologist, it's your everything. But for the staff in the restaurant, it's just another job to do in a long list of jobs they have. How do you manage their fatigue when you're implementing tech?
Well, you have to keep in mind that the managers themselves, they're seen by their staff as experts. And, their key focus is making sure the team is happy, making sure the customer is happy. And they will be the front line of also when things go wrong. So you have to kind of make sure that they feel supported, that they're invested, they understand what the office is trying to achieve. So what it is it's easier to work from strengths. So if the restaurant understands, we are implementing pay-at-table technology to help speed up table turns, to help inform your customers with allergens. Yeah. They understand that. Now, so right away, they know what to relay to their staff. Yeah. They know what to relay to the customer, and they can accept what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you just throw out technology and just say, deal with it, you're going to get a negative response.
Yeah, you need to give them a really tangible upside for them to this technology. Like, it will save you 6 hours at this, so you can do more of that.
Exactly.
Amazing. Okay, so when we're talking about restaurant technology, integrations always come up. And I think, speaking to you earlier, I learned that you're in favor of a best-in-class tech stack, so bringing together each of the best products across the different areas of tech in a restaurant rather than all-in-one solutions. It's something we've talked about on the podcast before, and something where, I think a lot of people understand. But integrations always comes up as a stumbling point. So what do you do? How do you deal with tech suppliers to understand if their integrations are good enough?
Well, one of the things is I always am a fan of getting best of breed, because it allows your company to adapt to changing needs. And if you're using best of breed products, it means that you're choosing a product that fully integrates with another. Yeah. So if you have an all-in-one product, you might think it's easier at the time, because you're like, instead of having to deal with all these different companies, I'm just dealing with the one. But the thing is when you're dealing with the one, you're so tied in that when you need to pivot to adjust to the changing market, you're kind of stuck, because that company that is supplying you might have other plans for their technology. So, for example, with COVID, all of a sudden, delivery became a massive need. And, sometimes you go back to your supplier saying, we need to have these solutions in place for delivery. And they're kind of like, we have another plan. And the thing is then you're in a position where it's like, okay, do I completely gut my tech stack in a time of urgency, or do I give it forego potential benefits for my business? And the thing is that's it. Do you want to put your restaurant business in the hands of a third party like that?
Yeah, it's one neck to throttle in a positive way, one person to make sure things are working, but it's also a massive risk putting all of your eggs in one basket. Whereas if you work with a number of suppliers, if one's not doing it for you, they can switch another out. And I also think there's a point around, if there's a lot of change happening like there was in COVID, and all of the parts of your tech stack need to change, one company can't focus on all of those areas at one time, whereas a number of suppliers who are specialists in each can all evolve at the same time, because there's a company for each. So, I think that it's a really, really good example. Okay, great. So in terms of integrations, right, how do you understand whether a company is just saying, we have integrations, trust me, they're going to work? And how do you know that, how do you tell the truth from a lie there?
Well, that's it. There's so many people that they just say, we have an API. Yeah. And so what you need to do is ask as many questions as possible, because the fact that you have an API doesn't mean that the API is created, and it doesn't mean that the other end of that integration is a willing partner as well. So don't just assume the best case scenario. If the supplier says we have an API, ask, is the API in place? Is it tested? How many customers are using it? And you'll see the more questions that you have, can I go visit the customer? This is where you'll start seeing the difference between the two, because if there is an API, but there's no customers, that's a red flag. If you go to a customer and they say, we've only had it for 1 month and we're not really using it, that's a red flag. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to take up the time of your supplier, because your supplier is not necessarily going to be completely truthful. I mean, a good one will be. But the thing is you're committing your business, your livelihood to these questions.
Definitely, and I've seen it working with lots of other tech businesses. There are different integration philosophies. For some companies, integrations are tasks that their core engineering team picks up. Others have dedicated teams, and some have completely open endpoints with all of their data points. But some have just selected a few. So it's really thinking about, what does this integration need to do for me, and is it going to do that? Because like with most things in tech, it sounds easy when you say it simply, but when you get into the nitty gritty, there are lots of complexities that are kind of hidden under the surface. Now, we've talked quite a bit about tech stacks, and we're going to keep on going for another minute or two. I want to find out if there are any tech stack fails you've seen where it's really impacted the business.
I mean, there's lots of examples. You walk into any restaurant and you can basically identify something that's working or not working. Yeah. But I mean, there's so many places where they put in a very fantastic app. But the thing is you go into the restaurant and there's no mobile coverage, so you can't use the app to process transactions. Yeah. I mean, things like that happen all the time. You know, the thing is you have to just find what the problem is, look at it from a customer perspective, and fix it.
Yeah, and I mean, something like that, it's put in to make customers' lives easier, but if it's not really thought through and done properly, it can make the customer's experience worse. So you really have to watch out for that. But are there any that have actually cost restaurants money, like where tech has literally lost the business money?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you think of, there's so many restaurants that their credit cards go down. And so like a few years ago, if you announced to your customers that, sorry, the credit card's not working, can you pay in cash? They would be like, oh, okay. But like now, hardly anyone has cash anymore, so they just basically say thank you for the free meal. You know, and if that happens once in a while, it's okay. But if your systems are constantly crashing and you can't accept payment, then that can ruin your business. Yeah,
that's a really good example. I also heard from someone that there was once a POS provider that got rid of service charges with an update. And that is crazy, because then you're literally losing money for the frontline staff.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, that's it. The tech is your friend, but that's it. The way that all the systems are entwined with each other now, you have to invest in reliability. Don't try and cut corners.
We're coming towards the end of our time on this episode, so I'm going to just go through with a few quick-fire questions. I want to know if you think these pieces of restaurant technology are overrated or underrated. So, how about kitchen screens?
Kitchen screens are highly underrated. There's so much information that the staff need now, like allergens, delivery, takeaway, kitchen timings to make sure the food gets to the table properly. If you're not using kitchen screens, you're working with one hand tied behind your back. So I'd say they're an absolute necessity nowadays.
How about QR code ordering?
QR code coding, I'd say probably it's underestimated. Again, you can allow your customers to time their meals, pay when they want, and also too you get the data. Yeah. So if you're paying with cash, it's all anonymous. But when you're paying through a pay at table mobile technology, all of a sudden you can link the customer to the items ordered and your frequency in the restaurant.
Yeah, very good. And AI forecasting, overrated or underrated?
Oh, underrated. I mean, right now it's very difficult for a lot of restaurants. You want to make sure that you're using forecasting to know exactly how many people you expect in the restaurant, how much stock you should have on hand, and how much labor. So I'd say underrated.
Yeah. Okay, final one. Digital signage.
Well, underrated as well, because, especially if you walk through the streets of London, there's lots of your competition have fantastic signage that's pulling your customers in. And if you're not doing the same, then you're at a disadvantage.
Amazing. All right, I've got one final question for you, William. What are you most excited about in hospitality tech right now?
Well, I mean, there's two things that I think are very new but exciting. One is linking your systems to the CCTV. So one of the things you can see, for example, is your lost business. So you can use the CCTV to see how many people have gotten in line, and they said, this is too long for me, I'm going to leave. Like no report on your point of sale is going to show you how many people decided that they've been waiting too long and walked away. You can use it as well to apply things like how many times are they visiting the all-you-can-drink machines? How many like you can link it to your stock to see, your depletion, send an alert. So, I mean, that is something that is now becoming very mainstream. I would also say that there's a product like Toddy or Yuda where you have like an AI, like a Siri-like mobile communicator that will say, Curran, were you happy with the trend? And Curran, how was your shift today? Curran, you're asking about maternity leave. What is the policy? So before you used to have like a big management team that would sit in the office and look this stuff up. Now you have to be able to do it on the fly, and the technology has hit a level where you can both manage the customers, manage the employees, but never go to your office.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing your insights, William. It's been wonderful to have you on the podcast. If people are looking to find out more about William or get in touch with him, you can do that at williamconnors.tech. And we'll see you soon for another episode of Supy Talks. Thank you.
Thanks so much.